American Thanksgiving, there's no NHL games on the slate. Why do you feel like that's the case? Do you think there should be NHL hockey on Thanksgiving in the States?
Well, I think Nick, they can always justify putting games on, but the bottom line is this has become a football holiday. The National Football League starts at 1 Eastern time and will dominate everything. I mean, football has taken over from family time. Forget about hockey. Football has taken over the day, period. It's almost as big a football holiday today in the United States as it is Thanksgiving. And that's just a reality. I don't have a problem with no games today. I think the respite for me is always welcome, considering this year it's been difficult to keep track since the season started of all the games. What I would have done, though, I would have found a way tomorrow to have the 16 games. I think that the NHL could have taken all 32 teams and played them on Black Friday somehow, some way, and I think that would have been a good little. It's shtick, but yes, it would have been fun to be able to watch from noon Eastern time to to midnight Pacific time, hockey games all the way around the league.
And John, going to the Leafs game last night, got the win kind of by the skin of their teeth, but a really well-needed, desperately needed win. We were talking about Willie Nylander before you got on. I mean, he gets 1-1. Yeah. His point total is outrageous. He's phenomenally talented. He's probably the best player on this team. But on the other side of the puck, when it comes to defensive, disciplines and the effort level on the other side of the puck, I mean, there's some pretty low lights going on with some of his play, and Craig Berube has been on top of him about it. It just doesn't seem to be a commitment to that. Do you think it's fair to bring that up, even though he is kind of the engine of this team and gets all the points every night, and they don't even win that game without him?
See, in listening to you, Jay, and by the way, it's great to be with you. It's not so great to be with Nick, but it's great to be with you.
Thanks, John.
Well, I can't change now, Nick.
It is what it is.
Good point.
You in your rant, and it was a very fair rant. In your rant, you put a caveat on it by saying he's a leader. I'm not so sure.
No.
I think he's a great player. To me, he's one of the most entertaining players to watch in the National Hockey League. But I'm not sure he's a leader. And for some reason, we've created this correlation, even prior to when you were playing, Jay, that the best players have to be leaders. That's not true. The best players should just be able to be the best players. That doesn't make them captain material. We have this terrible assumption right now that if you're the best player, you have to lead. And I guess lead by example. But I wonder, and in lots of discussions since the season started, like, who is the alpha dog on this hockey club? Who is the guy that is going to grab this team by its bootstraps and take it to the playoffs? Last night, I saw something out of Austin Matthews that I haven't seen in a while, and he had a chip on his shoulder a couple times, whether it was yelling at the ref or yelling at the Jackets. There was a little bit more there. We'll never get that out of William Nylander. We won't. We will never see that. What we will see is Michael Nylander 2.0. Great skill, great talent, and will get you out of your seat every once in a while. But I'm not going to be looking to him for leadership. I'm not. I am just not.
What do you make of that relationship, though? Like, I think if there's one positive I can grab, it really feels like Berube and Nylander get each other.
You do? You feel that?
Well, I feel like Berube can get more out of him. Like, he can motivate him, which I love to see. He doesn't sulk after Berube lashes out.
Oh, no. Well, that's the magic of what William Nylander is that it's water off a duck's back, right? Doesn't matter. Nylander knows who he is. You can see it in the clothes he wears. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He's very comfortable. He knows his skill level. He knows that he can turn it on anytime he wants. And what's frustrating for all of us, because, the three of us are lunch pail people. We've had to work our whole lives at whatever craft we have, and we've had to grind all the time. William Nylander has never had to grind in his life. And that's not a criticism, that's a reality. He has such great skill. Now you have to find a way to surround him with people that can take advantage of that skill. He's like taking a Ferrari to a demolition derby. He really is. He's that good. I have loved him from the time the Leafs drafted him. He's fun to watch. His skate. I mean, it used to drive Mike Babcock nuts. But he's worth the price of admission. But don't expect him to be Darryl Sittler, George Armstrong. Don't expect him to be Dave Keon. He's not that. He's an elite athlete that can play the game at a certain level, a certain way. And if you think you can change him now, good luck.
So you talk about that, Austin Matthews.
Now, hold on. Now, do you agree with me, Jay, or not?
I do. I don't think that Chief and him get each other. I think they're polar opposites and expect polar opposite types of play. But Chief is going to hold people accountable, and Willie Nylander can handle it, like you say, a duck water off a duck's back. But Willie's not interested in playing the way Chief wants to. It's obvious, and in his mind, he's like, I just won you the game. I got 1-1 last night. I'm up here in the entire league for points. I'm one of the best players in the world. Don't tell me how to play hockey. I'll do it my way. I always have, and I always will. And I honestly think it's, as much as I like Willie and as good as he is, I think it's one of the detriments of this team.
And this is where they miss a guy like Chris Tanev, not necessarily on the ice, but in the room, to be a little bit of a guide track for people to say, hey, listen, we've got to work hard, because it can't come from the coach all the time. Because at a certain point, the players just tune him out. They tune him out after a while. They might tune him out during the game at times. So the challenge then is, like, I still go back to my original question, like, who's the alpha dog on this team? And your point about William Nylander being the face of the franchise right now, I don't agree with that either. I think it's John Tavares. And how ironic is it now that John Tavares is the face of the franchise and they took the captaincy off? No. John Tavares answers every question. John Tavares is available after every game. John Tavares has a seriousness to him that people can gravitate to. And by the way, he's playing pretty well for a team that, to your point, Jay, for a team that is 15th or 16th in the Eastern Conference.
Direly needed for sure. And since you brought it up, the barometer in the NHL world, it's American Thanksgiving, Leafs 15th to 16th in the East. How much does that matter?
Well, it matters to Leaf fans.
Yeah.
It might matter to our friends at Rogers, who A, own the team, and B, own the Canadian television rights. From a business perspective, without the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup playoffs, it would be like the Toronto Blue Jays not making the Major League Baseball playoffs. So that's a concern. I'm not sure that Rogers would put pressure on Keith Pelley and Brad Treliving and Craig Berube at this point, but you do have to wonder, at what point does ownership say, hey guys, we got to right the ship, because we have budgeted for this team to be in the playoffs.
So speaking of righting the ship, you talked about Tanev. Obviously it'd be great to have him back. I don't see any timeline in the future for that. Woll basically stole the game last night, and covered up some mistakes for sure. To get Stolarz would be great. Let's say you get the whole team back and they're healthy. Does this team, are they going to be able to find something, or do they have too many warts? Can they put this together under Craig Berube and claw their way back into a solid playoff position and see if they can salvage the season?
I think we'll have a better idea after this road trip. After Washington tomorrow, Pittsburgh, Carolina. I think we'll have a better sense. Uh, Last night, and you're right about Joseph Wall. He was spectacular last night. But last night was a vital start to this road trip. But there's a reality that they could still go 1-4, right?
Yeah.
They could still, and I do a lot of work in Edmonton. I do work in Vancouver, and in Winnipeg, and what you're seeing in those cities is exactly what we're seeing in Toronto right now. Is that everybody's praying for a spark. There's got to be a spark. Where's the spark? I mean, whether it's a lineup change or returning guys from injuries, you pray you get a spark. Edmonton went to Florida and got 3 out of 4 points from Tampa and Florida, and they thought, wow, there it is. There's the spark. We're back. We're ready to go. And then they go home and it's 8-3 Dallas. And I think Leaf fans are sitting here today thinking, oh, thank goodness we got the 2 points we were supposed to get. But did we have enough of a spark? Joseph Wall did his job. Yeah, that's a great spark. But is Joseph Wall going to play back-to-back Friday, Saturday?
No.
I'll be shocked if that happens. If that happens, that tells you that where this team thinks winning is right now, that it's vitally important. It doesn't reflect very well on Hildeby, and then it also tells you that Anthony Stolarz is not close at all. Man. And those are concerns. Those are real concerns for me about what's going on with this hockey team. One win helps. Ask me in 5 games. And if you can see it, and you guys watch it much closer than I do. But, are we seeing enough respect for the system, respect for the game on a nightly basis? Like you guys talked about, the Columbus 3-on-1. Are we seeing enough of that out of this group to give you a little bit of confidence that, yes, they do have a spark?
If you had to pinpoint one thing that will determine whether Toronto can figure this out, what do you think it would be for you?
Well, I still think that this team needs to find a way to be much more consistent in getting the puck out of their own zone. Lots of pressure on this defensive core, but and I'm not a technical guy, Nick. You know that. I mean, I hate buzzwords, active sticks, gap control, but zone exits to me are the key to everything. How does this group and you guys have documented it all season? They have been abhorrent at getting the puck out of their own zone. At times, they haven't been able to. And so that's the part of the game that the simple first step of getting it to their talented forwards is getting the puck out of their own zone. And they have not done a good job of it. And it'll be fascinating to watch them against the Capitals, who are, I think, a little more physical and a little more, Spencer's got that team working pretty well on the forecheck. It'll be fascinating to see if the Maple Leafs are in any better shape getting the puck out of their own zone in order to try to create some offense.
Yeah, and it's tough because, the D-core was something we didn't really think too much about last year. They seem to be quite solid at moving the puck and keeping things to the outside. We are where we are this season. Some people are in shock, others not so much. But based on their shortcomings this year, do you put any of that on Craig Berube? Some people instantly were yelling, fire the coach. Do you think that has anything to do with it? Systems, the way they're coached, or is it strictly buy-in and the personnel with their skates on the ice?
Well, I think, the coach has to take some responsibility. I also think that they missed Lane Lambert, because I think Lane Lambert did a lot of good things for Craig and the staff and the players. I think he was a big part of the success in the regular season for this hockey club while he was here. And I think you can see that in Seattle now, that Lane Lambert, in his second tenure as a head coach in this league, understands what it's like. I do. Again, it goes back to what I said about the demolition derby. Craig Craig knows how to coach. In my opinion, Craig knows how to coach one way. And we can talk about north, south. We can talk about whatever you want, how he likes to coach. But does he have north, south players? And so do you expect the coach to adapt to the players he has? Or do you expect the players to adapt to the coach they have? And if you can find a way to identify that, then I think that gives you the responsibility of the coach. I would like to see the coach a little more responsible at being able to use the talent he has properly, as opposed to expecting them just to play the game the way he wants it to. I think that's part of what being a head coach in this league is, saying, okay, we do have a William Nylander. We have an Austin Matthews. I don't want to hear that those guys have an opportunity to win the Selke Trophy. That's not what they do. Now, Matthews could win it because he's that good, but if he won the Selke Trophy that year, he'd probably win the Hart Trophy too. But I'm just saying, and this, in many ways, guys, this is where they miss Marner more than anything, is the ability to play at both ends of the ice. So I would like to see Craig be a little more open to change, but I'm not sure that that's possible. And, the organization may not want that. And then that's obviously totally up to what Brad and Craig want to do with this hockey club. As a Leaf fan, everyone out there, I'm sure, is frustrated because they do see some talented players, guys that will, long after they retire, will be viewed as some of the greatest Leafs of all time. But it's not working at 100% for this group right now, because I think that coach and players aren't on the same page all the time.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.